How's it going, bro?
How you doing?
Not bad, dude.
Turn up, see?
XSR.
Oh, okay.
Same exact engine, dude.
No shit.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
It's a fun bike, dude.
Grom, don't you?
I've got a Grom too, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, buenos dias, ¿qué pasó, amigos? John's Moto Garage. Welcome back to the channel. I've had a lot of people over the last few months, year or so, ask what are my thoughts on the Suzuki DRZ versus the Yamaha MT07 Fz07 / XSR700. So today we're going to do a side-by-side comparison, going over some of the basics. I'll also show you clips of me riding both bikes. We'll see the bikes in action. Unfortunately, the DRZ is out of commission at the moment, so I won't be jumping on and riding that one. But after we go over the basics, I'll jump on the XSR and we'll talk a little bit about the two. I'll let you know which one's my personal favorite. Now, of course, I think this goes without saying, when it comes to picking a bike for you, it all comes down to the individual and personal preference. So for starters, here we got a 2017 Yamaha XSR700. Again, the exact same parallel twin that you see in the Fz07 and MT07. And then here we've got a 2016, I want to say, Suzuki DRZ400SM single cylinder. Let's start out with some of the basics. And this isn't a thesis, I'm not some PhD student, so I'm not going to go super in depth. You've got Google and lots of other videos to go over that stuff. So the Suzuki DRZ400SM, so this is a 400cc single cylinder, carbureted, it's chain drive, 5-speed, liquid cooled, and you can get the DRZ in a dual sport with dirt, off-road, narrower, bigger wheels, or this one is the Super Moto, of course, which is going to have smaller, wider, and street tires, which, yes, I do need to replace my tires here. Okay, as far as your basic specs on this bike, it weighs around 350 pounds. You've got about 45 horsepower, 25 foot-pounds of torque. Seat height is 36 to 38 inches, depending on how you have it adjusted, so definitely sits a lot taller. And then, like I mentioned before, it's a chain drive, 5-speed, 398 cc's, and MSRP on these bikes brand new is going to be around $7,500. You should be able to find one for $4,000 to $5,000 used. All right, now let's move over to the XSR700, and again we're going to be talking Fz07, MT07 as well, because they're very, very similar motorcycles. So this bike weighs a little bit more at about 400 pounds. You got 74 horsepower, 50 foot-pounds of torque, 31-inch seat height, so sits a little bit lower. Chain drive, 6-speed, 689 cc. This is also liquid cooled, and MSRP on these is actually right about the same as the DRZ, around $7,500. One thing I'll touch on just briefly that I didn't mention before is the stunt game. Both of these are really commonplace. You've got a lot of dudes who will build up the DRZs, put a handbrake on them, aftermarket fairings, all that good stuff, set it up so, you know, it's really good for stunting. For me, that bike was a great one to learn wheelies on, kind of transitioning up from the Honda Grom. So I know a lot of people go that route. And then also the, not so much the XSR, but the Fz07, you see a lot of dudes starting to turn those into stunt bikes as well. Might as well start the two up real quick too while we're at it. This has an aftermarket exhaust. And you will note you can get this with ABS. I don't know, they may all have ABS, I honestly don't know. We'll start this up. Like I said, this is carbureted. This also has aftermarket exhaust. All right, I'm gonna put the DRZ away. Let's jump on the XSR and let's get into the fun stuff, the actual riding part of things. All right, here we are. Now that we got all the boring stuff out of the way, let's actually jump on the bike. This is the fun part, right? The actual ride. And this is something that it's hard to articulate and you know, it's hard to tell somebody exactly what the experience is, and the reality is everybody's experience is going to be a little different, right? So while I may totally dig the XSR, somebody else may be a huge fan of a super sport, you know? And so the best bet always is try and get your hands on each motorcycle and at least sit on it. If you're able to start it up and rip it around the block, even better. It's hard for new riders because you don't actually have the riding ability yet, so sometimes you just got to go off of these videos or what other people tell you. So let's start out with the XSR700, and then again I'll jump over to the DRZ. That bike's out of commission, but I'll show you clips so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So the first time I jumped on an MT07 or Fz07, similar bike to this, first thing I thought was, holy smokes, this is wicked fun. A total blast. The bike is super lightweight. It feels almost like you're on a bicycle as far as the light, you know, how agile and nimble it is. And yeah, you still feel planted on the ground. I've mentioned in other videos that higher speeds does feel a little unstable, but you know, for your typical rider ripping around town, zipping up and down the freeway for the short bursts, it feels pretty dang solid. The power is not unmanageable, but it is still quick, and so it kind of gives you that need for speed. So if you're a fan of the sport bikes but you don't necessarily want to kill yourself on a super sport, this is a great bike. It gives you that extra little bit of speed. I'm not going to talk about the wheelie stuff today. Does it wheelie? Heck yeah, it does. Is it easy to do it on this bike? Yeah. Can it be scary at times? For sure. And then one of the other things that came to mind when I first rode this was it honestly feels like a Super Moto on steroids, because it really does have very similar ergonomics. The XSR in particular is not super aggressive with the way the bars are set up. To my recollection, the Fz07 is not extremely aggressive either. It has a much more neutral riding position. So I totally understand why a lot of people kind of struggle between, should I get the XSR or Yamaha or the Suzuki? So where the Yamaha is going to stand out, like I mentioned before, is in the performance side of things. If you know you like going a little bit faster, you like pulling ahead of traffic and everything, then this definitely has an edge over the DRZ. The 6 gear is nice. You can jump on the freeway and cruise more comfortably, in my opinion, on this than the Suzuki. Oh, it looks like we got a motorcycle behind us. Yeah! Woo! How's it going, bro?
How you doing?
Not bad, dude.
Turn up, see?
XSR. Same exact engine, dude.
No shit.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
It's a fun bike, dude.
Grom, don't you?
I've got a Grom too, yeah. So if you were wondering, that's the Fz07. Again, pretty much same motorcycle. Anyway, back to it. So yeah, this is a little hooligan machine. I imagine, I haven't done it, but I imagine on the track and hitting the canyons and everything, this bike would be much better performance-wise than the and handling than the DRZ as well. All right, now let's jump over to the Suzuki, the DRZ. Some of you may be wondering, how is it even a question, man? The DRZ's not as powerful, it's not as cool looking, it's not as easy to do wheelies, it's not as fast, so how in the world can the DRZ even compete with the XSR? How could anybody even ask, right? And on paper, I get where you're coming from, but the old adage, it's funner to ride a slow bike fast than a fast bike slow, and I know I overuse it on the channel, but it rings true for sure when it comes to this type of riding. The DRZ, while not close to as powerful, it really just makes for an overall fun, agile bike as well. The DRZ is also a great bike for beginners. It's lightweight, sits a little taller, so that can be intimidating initially, but the ergonomics are very neutral, comfortable, not aggressive. weighs a little bit less. But the one place where the DRZ totally stands out, and where the Yamaha cannot even compete is the versatility. You guys all know what I'm talking about. That DRZ being a dual sport, you know, Super Moto, even with street tires, I'll add, you can jump on dirt, you can take your little detours, you can go off-roading, you can hit little jumps, you can roll through the grass, taking shortcuts, you can do just about anything you want on the DRZ, you know, within reason. And so that's why it comes down to the individual and what you want to do and what you plan on doing, where you live, you know, the geographic area where you live in. Where if you're in the streets and there's no dirt for, you know, anywhere, then you may not have any reason to jump on a DRZ. And sure, this will be the winner. But if you find yourself kind of in a situation like me, where I can go explore a little bit on the DRZ, I can find, you know, off-road places to just mess around. It's not an all-out dirt bike, you know, it's heavy and slow compared to that, but it still is kind of like a good blend of the two. And the nice thing also with the DRZ being a lot less powerful, it is going to be much better for beginners, more manageable, less potential to hurt yourself, you know, as far as accidentally cracking the throttle or, you know, speed racing and looping it, things along those lines. So yeah, so those are some of the pluses with the DRZ. And for me, what it comes down to ultimately is a fun factor, you know, utility, all that combined. And that's why, while I'm a huge fan of the Fz07, like, I totally love these motorcycles, probably for the wrong reason, mostly just because it's easy to wheelie on them. Ultimately, if I had to choose just one, where I'm at now, it would totally be the DRZ. I have to say, it would be the DRZ. Because you just have more flexibility, man. The versatility to be able to go out and do all that fun stuff, explore, hit the dirt, learn to drift, all that good stuff. But if I was buying a bike and I was only gonna have the one bike, and I knew I had to do long commutes on the freeway, but I also wanted to have something that was, you know, nimble, lightweight, and, you know, fun for around town, that's where this bike would still be a, you know, a good option. So again, not a full comprehensive review on these, you know, between the two bikes. No, I didn't go into, you know, what kind of brakes you have on each and what kind of oil you're going to use and what maintenance intervals you're going to hit up and everything. Hopefully this sheds a little bit of light and provides some insight and some additional perspective for you when deciding to choose between the two. As always, it comes down to the individual. Drop a comment below, let me know what you guys think. Which one would you rather mod, the DRZ or the Yamaha, Suzuki or Yamaha? Which one do you think? And then of course there's tons of other options out there too, so it's not like these are the only two we have available. All right, enough rambling. I'm gonna go hit the streets and see if I can have some fun. Like and subscribe if you dig the content. I appreciate the support, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Adios, hasta luego, nos vemos. I'm a wilderness man, dude. I'm a freaking adventure dude. What can I say? Oh, this is pretty cool, man. The DRZ would be perfect for this. I don't know why I don't get out and explore like this more often. You know, that XSR with some dirt, knobby tires, I think would actually do all right. Oh, there's nothing over there. It's just a little bit sketch. Woo! We made it, yeah!